There is a heat in your throat. Feel it for a moment. It is not an illness. It is not an allergy. It is a pressure, a warmth that begins somewhere deep behind your breastbone and rises, coiling at the root of your tongue. You have been swallowing around it for days, perhaps weeks. A feeling that something needs to be said. Not just said, but unleashed. For others, it is not in the throat, but behind the eyes. A pressure that makes the world seem too bright, too loud. A feeling that if you were to speak the truth, the real, unvarnished, inconvenient truth, the sound itself would crack the sky. This is not your imagination. This is a celestial event registering in the most sensitive instrument you own, your body. Within the next 48 hours, a current that has been building in the cosmos reaches its peak. Mercury, the messenger, the weaver of words, the god of contracts and understanding, moves into a perfect, volatile, and incandescent collision with Mars. Mars, the warrior, the force of severance, the principle of action that cuts through all hesitation. When the planet of words meets the planet of the sword, the air itself begins to tremble. This is not a gentle conjunction. This is a cosmic forge. And what is being forged are words that carry the weight of actions. Words that cannot be unsaid. Words that draw blood. I need you to understand what is happening because this energy is already speaking through you. It is the reason for your restless sleep, for the arguments you have been replaying in your mind, for the sudden, sharp intake of breath when you remember a promise that was broken or a boundary that was crossed. A voice has been whispering to you in the quiet moments. This is not it. This cannot continue. That voice is not just your own intuition. It is the resonance of this planetary clash, offering you a choice. Not a choice between silence and speaking, but a choice about the kind of world your words will create when they finally land. We are going to walk through this together. We will look at the ancient story that lives inside this alignment. We will name the 3 signs of the zodiac who are acting as the primary channels for this energy, the ones who are standing closest to the fire. And then I will give you a practice, a way to handle this heat so that it becomes a tool for liberation, not a weapon of regret. Stay with me. The gate does not stay open forever. To understand the force that is moving through you, we must first understand the ink. In the ancient world, in the scriptoriums of Alexandria and the libraries of Baghdad, scribes understood there were 2 kinds of ink. There was the black ink, the ink of everyday life. It was made of soot and water and gum. It was the ink of commerce, of letters, of poetry, of history. It was the ink of recording what was. Black ink could be corrected. It could be scraped from the parchment. A mistake made in black ink could be undone. It represented conversation, negotiation, the fluid nature of human relationship. This is the realm of Mercury. It is the story we tell, and the story we can agree to change. But then there was the red ink. Red ink was not for conversation. Red ink was for consequences. It was made from cinnabar, from mercury sulfide, or from the Kermes insect, crushed and bled onto the page. It was a sacred and dangerous substance. It was used to sign edicts of war. It was used to mark the names of the condemned. It was used in magical texts to bind spirits and in alchemical formulas to signify the final, irreversible stage of a transformation. A word written in red ink was not a suggestion. It was a verdict. A signature in red ink was not an agreement. It was a blood oath. This is the realm of Mars. The collision of Mercury and Mars is the moment the universe dips its quill into the red ink. It is a time when our words cease to be descriptive and become causative. They do not just report on reality. they create it. The casual remark, the offhand comment, the text sent in a moment of frustration, it lands with the weight of an edict. The conversation you have been avoiding is no longer a conversation. It is a sentencing. This is why the pressure in your body is so immense. You are holding a pen filled with an ink that can rewrite a contract, end a relationship, or declare a war you did not even know you were willing to fight. There is a story, a fragment from a pre-Hellenic text, that speaks of this moment. It tells of two brothers, two aspects of the divine. One was the scribe, whose domain was knowledge, language, and the sacred patterns that held the world together. The other was the general, whose domain was action, will, and the clean, sharp edge of decision. For eons, they worked in balance. The scribe would draft the treaties, the maps, the laws. The general would enforce them. The word and the deed were in harmony. But there came a time of great stagnation. The world had become trapped in old agreements, in promises that had long since soured, in laws that no longer served life. The black ink of the scribe had filled every book, and the world was suffocating under the weight of its own history. The general saw this and knew that only a radical act could break the deadlock. He went to his brother's temple in the dead of night. He did not speak. He simply drew his ceremonial dagger, sliced a shallow cut across his own palm, and held his bleeding hand over the scribe's inkwell. His blood dripped into the black ink, turning it a deep, arterial red. He then laid a blank piece of parchment on the table. The message was clear. Write what must be written, not with the ink of yesterday, but with the ink of now, with the ink of blood and fire and consequence. The scribe trembled, for he knew what this meant. To write with this ink was to dissolve the old world. Any word he put on that page would become an unbreakable reality. The story ends there, with the scribe's hand hovering over the page, the quill heavy with red ink, the fate of the world held in a single, pending sentence. You are that scribe. Your life is that parchment, and the pressure you feel is the silent demand of the general, the Mars within you, who has bled into your well of words and is demanding that you finally write the truth. Not the polite truth, not the negotiated truth, the true truth, the one that changes everything. This is the energy we are all swimming in. But for 3 signs, the pressure is not ambient, it is direct. They are the ones standing in the temple, holding the quill. If your sun, moon, or rising sign is in one of these constellations, you are a focal point for this celestial event. This is not a curse. It is a sacred responsibility. You are being asked to demonstrate how to wield this power with integrity. The first of these is Aries. This is no surprise. Mars is your home, your ruling principle. For you, this transit is not an alien invasion. It is a homecoming. The rest of the world is just now feeling the heat that you live with every day. The impulse to act, to speak, to move, to initiate. This is your native language. But this conjunction with Mercury changes the nature of the weapon in your hand. Usually, your weapon is the deed. You are the one who walks out the door, who starts the business, who throws the first punch. Your actions speak for themselves. But right now, your primary weapon is your word. And this is a dangerous shift. You are used to the clean release of a physical action. The word is a different kind of tool. It is more subtle, more resonant, and its wounds echo long after they are inflicted. The pressure you are feeling, Aries, is the unbearable urge to speak a blunt, clarifying, world-shattering truth. It feels like a fire in your belly that will consume you if you do not let it out. You see the dishonesty, the inefficiency, the cowardice around you, and a single, perfect, devastating sentence forms in your mind. A sentence that could cut through months of ambiguity in a single second. The danger for you is not in speaking the truth. Your truth is often correct. The danger is in the delivery. Under this transit, your words are not just words, they are spear points. They are aimed with perfect accuracy at the most vulnerable part of another person's argument, another person's ego. You will be tempted to speak this truth not for the sake of clarity, but for the sake of victory, to win the argument, to have the last word, to watch the flimsy structures of denial crumble under the force of your honesty. The regret you will face is the regret of the warrior who uses a cannon to kill a fly. The collateral damage. You may win the battle, but you will be standing alone on a field of rubble, wondering why the connection you were trying to purify is now a smoking crater. The heat in your throat is the forging of that spear. Before you throw it, you must ask yourself, am I trying to liberate this situation, or am I just trying to win? Is this red ink meant to sign a declaration of freedom, or just a death warrant for a relationship that could have been saved? The line is finer than a razor's edge. Your task is not to suppress the fire, but to aim it with the precision of a healer, not the fury of a berserker. The second sign standing in the path of this storm is Gemini. If Aries is the warrior, you are the messenger. Mercury is your ruler. Language is your kingdom. You live and breathe in the world of words, ideas, connections, and narratives. You can argue any side of any issue. You can build bridges of understanding where there were once walls of silence. Your gift is your adaptability, your mental agility, your ability to hold multiple truths at once. And that is precisely why this transit is so profoundly challenging for you. Mars, the planet of singular, undivided focus and brutal honesty, is currently sitting on your throne. It has seized control of your intricate communication network and is attempting to use it for one purpose: to declare a single, non-negotiable truth. This feels, to your system, like a violation. It is a fundamentalist occupying a library. The pressure you feel is a frantic, buzzing energy in your mind. 1,000 thoughts at once, 1,000 conversations you need to have, all of them charged with an unfamiliar and uncomfortable intensity. Your usual strategy is to talk your way around a problem, to reframe it, to find a new angle, to keep the conversation moving until a solution appears. But Mars does not negotiate. Mars cuts. And so, you are tempted to use your greatest gift as your most vicious weapon. Your words, normally so playful and curious, become sharp-edged, sarcastic, and dismissive. You find yourself wanting to dismantle someone's reality with a perfectly crafted, intellectually superior argument. You can see the logical flaws in their position, the emotional hypocrisy in their stance, and you have the vocabulary to expose it all, to leave them verbally naked and defenseless. The regret for you, Gemini, is the regret of the magician who gets bored and reveals how all the tricks are done. In a moment of Martian frustration with the slow, messy pace of human emotion, you might be tempted to expose everything, to lay bare the hidden motivations, the unspoken agendas, the entire psychological architecture of a relationship, simply because you can. You will do it with a dazzling, terrifying clarity. And then, the magic will be gone. The trust, the mystery, the delicate faith that holds a connection together, it will evaporate, and you will be left in a sterile room of facts, wondering where the life went. The churning in your gut, the racing of your mind, is the sound of the general attempting to use the scribe's entire library to write a single word. No. Your challenge is to find the one truth that needs to be spoken, not the 1,000 clever truths you could speak. Mars is demanding you choose a side, not intellectually, but viscerally, in your body. What is the one thing that is so fundamentally true for you right now that it requires no argument, no defense? Your task is to speak that one thing, simply and without adornment. And then, to endure the silence that follows. To resist the urge to explain, to soften, to backtrack. One sentence in red ink is all that is required. The rest is just noise. The third sign is Scorpio, and for you this is the most perilous passage of all. You are a child of two worlds, traditionally ruled by Mars and, in modern astrology, by Pluto. You understand both the clean fire of action and the deep subterranean power of transformation. Unlike Aries, who wields the spear, or Gemini, who wields the intellect, you, Scorpio, wield the truth that lies beneath the surface. Your domain is the secret, the taboo, the unspoken emotional contract that governs every human interaction. You are always aware of the red ink. You see it on every page, beneath every signature. You know what is really being said when nothing is being said at all. Your daily life is a navigation of these powerful, invisible currents. You are comfortable in the depths where others would drown. This transit brings that deep, hidden truth erupting to the surface with volcanic force. Mercury, the planet of expression, is illuminating the very thing you have been holding in the dark. The thing you knew but didn't want to know. The thing you saw but pretended not to see. The dynamic in your family, the lie in your relationship, the compromise in your own soul. It is now lit from within, glowing with a toxic radiance, and it is becoming impossible to contain. The pressure you feel is that of a deep-sea diver ascending too quickly. The secrets are rising. The unspoken truths are demanding air. And the words that are forming in your mind are not just words. They are surgical instruments designed to cut away the diseased tissue of a situation. You have the power to speak a sentence that will not just end an argument, but will reframe the entire history of a relationship in a single, devastating moment of clarity. You can expose the root of the problem with such precision that there is no going back. The regret you risk is the most profound of the three. It is the regret of the surgeon who performs a successful operation, but the patient dies from the shock. You may be right. In fact, you are almost certainly right. But being right is not the same as being wise. In your drive to expose the ultimate truth, you risk forgetting the humanity of the person in front of you. You can speak a truth so pure, so absolute, that it offers no room for grace, no possibility of repair. You will have your truth, but you will lose the person. And deeper still, Scorpio, is the regret of self-exposure. In your effort to name the truth of the situation, you may inadvertently reveal a part of your own soul that you were not ready to bring into the light. You may speak of a vulnerability, a need, a wound, with such raw honesty that once the Martian fire has passed, you will feel terrifyingly exposed, wishing you could call the words back into the safety of your own heart. The trembling in your hands, the feeling of being submerged, is the pressure of the deep truth rising. Your task is not to deny the truth, but to choose the vessel that will carry it. Does this truth need to be delivered like a vial of poison? Or can it be offered like a bitter, necessary medicine? You, more than anyone, know the difference. You must choose. For everyone, regardless of your sign, this energy is active. You may feel it in relation to an Aries, Gemini, or Scorpio in your life. You may feel it in the part of your own chart governed by these signs. The temple is open to all. The red ink is available to all. The question is what you will do with it. It says, "The time for pretending is over." It says, "What lie has been holding your life together?" It says, "Speak now, or let this poison calcify in your bones." Let us be honest now. You know the conversation. You know the person. As I have been speaking, a face has been appearing in your mind. A situation has been playing itself out behind your eyes. There is a truth you have been carrying that has become too heavy. You have been protecting someone's feelings, or your own comfort, or a fragile peace that was never peaceful to begin with. You have been using black ink when your soul was screaming for red. This is not about picking a fight. This is about ending a war that has been raging within you silently for far too long. The regret we are seeking to avoid is not the regret of speaking. It is the regret of speaking badly, of speaking from the wound instead of from the wisdom, of using this potent fire to burn everything down, rather than to cauterize a wound and clear the path for new growth. So here is the practice. A ritual in 3 parts to be performed over the next 3 days as this energy crests and recedes. This is a way to honor both Mercury and Mars, to give the warrior his due, and to give the scribe the final say. It is a way to write in red ink on the pages of your own soul, so that you can speak with clear ink in the world. Day 1. The witnessing. This is for Mars. Tonight or tomorrow, find a time when you will not be disturbed. Take a single sheet of paper, or many sheets. Use a pen with an ink you can see, an ink that feels real. Black is fine. And then you will write. You will write the letter that you will never send. You will have the conversation on paper that you are terrified to have in person. Do not censor yourself. Do not be polite. Do not worry about being fair or kind or spiritual. This is not the time for that. This is the time to let the warrior speak. Write down every ugly thought, every petty grievance, every furious accusation. Use the words you would never dare say out loud. Fill the page with the poison. If you feel anger, let it burn through the pen. If you feel grief, let your tears fall and smudge the ink. This is not for anyone else to see. This is for you. You are giving the raw, untamed energy of Mars a voice, but in a contained space. You are letting the general rage on the training ground, not in the middle of the city. Write until you feel empty, until the heat in your throat has cooled, until the pressure behind your eyes has eased. You will know when you are done. When you are finished, do not reread it. Not yet. Fold the paper and put it somewhere safe, somewhere dark, an envelope, a drawer, a book. You have witnessed the raw truth of your own anger. You have given it form. That is enough for one day. Day 2. The distillation. This is for Mercury. The next day, at least 12 hours later, you will retrieve the pages. Now you will read what you wrote. Read it not with judgment, but with curiosity. Read it as if it were written by a stranger you care about deeply. You will see the pain beneath the anger. You will see the fear beneath the accusations. You will see the deep, unmet need beneath the rage. Your task today is not to get lost in the drama of the story. Your task is to find the signal in the noise. Somewhere in that torrent of words, there is one sentence, one single, simple, devastatingly honest sentence that is the root of all the rest. It is the truth beneath the story. It might be, I feel invisible when you do that. It might be, I am afraid that I have lost you. It might be, I cannot live like this anymore. It might be, I need your help. It will be a sentence that is vulnerable, not aggressive. It will be an I statement, not a you accusation. It will feel quiet and heavy and utterly true. Take a new, clean sheet of paper. With a steady hand, write only that one sentence in the center of the page, nothing else. This is the alchemical process. You have taken the raw, leaden rage of Mars and, through the wisdom of Mercury, you have distilled it into the pure gold of essential truth. This one sentence is the message. This is the word that needs to be spoken. The rest was just the fire that forged it. Look at that sentence. This is the red ink. It is the thing that can change everything. Burn the pages from day one. Release them. Their work is done. They were the vessel, not the substance. All that matters now is this single distilled truth on the clean page. Day 3. The release. This is for your soul. You have a choice. For some of you, the clarity gained from this practice is enough. You now know what is true, and you can carry that truth into the real conversation with a new kind of calm, a new kind of integrity. You can speak your one sentence, your distilled truth, to the person who needs to hear it, and you can do it from a place of centered power, not reactive rage. You have honored the warrior and the scribe, and you are ready. But for others, the charge is still too high. The risk of the conversation exploding is still too great, or perhaps the person is not available or not safe to speak to. For you, there is another way. Take your page with the single sentence on it. Take it outside. You are going to give this word back to the elements so that it can be integrated into the world without becoming a weapon. Find a body of moving water, a river, a stream, the ocean. Read your sentence aloud to the water. Let the current hear it. And then place the paper in the water and let it be carried away. Let the truth dissolve and become part of a larger flow. Or find a safe place to build a small fire. Read your sentence aloud to the flames. Let the fire hear it. And then place the paper in the fire and watch it turn to ash. Let the truth be transformed into light and heat and returned to the cosmos. Or go to the earth, a garden, a forest, the base of a tree. Read your sentence aloud to the ground. Let the roots of the world hear it. And then bury the paper in the soil. Let the truth become compost for whatever needs to grow next. This is not an act of avoidance. This is an act of sacred communication. You are speaking the truth into the world, into the body of the earth, releasing the volatile energetic charge from your own system. You are clearing the ink. You are freeing yourself from the pressure of the unspoken without creating the wreckage of a word spoken in rage. You have used the red ink to sign a treaty with your own soul. Now, when you do speak, your words will be clean. They will be clear. They will build worlds, not burn them. You did not find this by accident. Something in you, in the quiet wisdom of your body, recognized the rising heat before I ever named it. You felt the pressure building and you went looking for a language to understand it. That act of seeking, that decision to listen to the subtle signal beneath the noise of your life, is the first and most important step. You are already doing the work. What you are feeling is not a flaw. Your sensitivity is not a curse. It is a form of intelligence. It is your soul's early warning system, telling you that a moment of profound choice is at hand. The world will tell you to be less sensitive, to be less intense, to not take things so seriously. But in a time like this, your sensitivity is the only thing that can guide you through the fire without getting burned. It is the compass that allows you to feel the difference between a truth that liberates and a truth that merely destroys. Trust the heat in your throat. Trust the pressure behind your eyes. They are not symptoms of a problem. They are evidence of your aliveness, of your deep engagement with the difficult, beautiful, and necessary work of becoming more yourself. The warrior and the scribe are not at war within you. They are asking to dance. Mars provides the courage to face the truth. Mercury provides the wisdom to articulate it with grace. Your heart is the temple where they meet. This transit is a gift. It feels like pressure, like the threat of an explosion, but it is a gift. It is the universe's way of helping you break a stalemate, of forcing a decision that has been delayed for too long, of compelling a conversation that is essential for the next chapter of your life to begin. The regret comes not from the conversation itself, but from the fear that prevents it, a fear that allows a situation to fester until it becomes toxic. The only thing to fear is the silence that lies. The ink is now in your hands. You have seen its power. You know its cost. You can feel its weight. The choice is not whether to write. The choice is what to write. A declaration of war, or a declaration of independence. A final verdict, or the first sentence of a truer story. In the space below, when you have completed your practice, or simply when you feel that a shift has occurred within you, I invite you to write a single sentence. Not for me, not for an algorithm, but as an act of witness for yourself and for the others who will come to this space, feeling that same heat in their own throats. Let your words be a gift to them, a sign that they are not alone. Write. The ink is now clear. By writing this, you are declaring your intention. You are telling your own soul that you have weathered the fire, you have listened to the wisdom, and you are ready to speak from a place of clarity and power. Someone beneath your words will find courage in your declaration. This is how we hold the line for each other in times of intensity. I spend many hours in the quiet, listening to these celestial stories, translating their poetry so that the path might be made clearer. If this guidance has served you, if it has brought you a measure of peace or a moment of clarity, you will know how to find your way back to this space. The work continues. The conversation deepens. For now, breathe. Feel the space in your throat where the heat once was. Feel the stillness behind your eyes. You have done well. You are brave enough for what comes next. May your words build worlds, not burn them.